Hi again, Mark here from talkingbass.net. You've probably arrived here from lesson 1 in our series devoted to notes on the bass neck. If not, or if you have any problems with this material, just go back over lesson 1 and you should be fine. So let's move on to the second method for learning the notes on the neck. This requires you to think in terms of positions. There are many ways to look at positions, but I'm going to stick to just 2 in order to simplify the process. And we'll only be looking at the first position to get you started. You can practice the second position after nailing the first, and I'll provide all the information and tools necessary for working on that stuff yourself. So my first position uses only the open E string and then the first 5 frets. No other open strings are used, and we'll use the pattern across the strings as follows: E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay. In terms of hand positions, we can use 1 finger per fret, with the first finger taking the 2nd fret. So we have the first finger 2nd fret, 2nd finger 3rd fret, 3rd finger 4th fret, and 4th finger 5th fret. I use this positioning because all the natural notes fall under these fingers except for the F down here at the first fret of the E string. So when we need that, we can just stretch down. So this is the position, ordinarily the home position. So you want to play the pattern of these natural notes across the neck like a scale, up and down, and it just so happens that we are actually playing a C major scale, but from the low E note, because C major is made up solely of natural notes, no accidentals. So let's ascend through the pattern, but saying the notes out loud as we go, and then we'll come back down again. So E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then down, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. So have a look at the patterns on each string as we move across the neck. First of all, we have this big tone pattern from the F to the G and G to A. Then on the A string, we've got a semitone tone pattern of B, C, D. Then we've got the same, we've got a semitone tone pattern of E, F, G. And then we have a tone semitone pattern of A, B, C. Now, if you're a strict pattern player, these semitone and tone combinations will probably seem quite familiar to you, since most scales and other fretboard shapes use combinations of these smaller patterns. So even now, we can work out the notes a little bit easier in this first position. If we need a C, we can just run up through our pattern, even if the notes haven't sunk in yet. So for a C, we have E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay? And if we wanted a G, we could have E, F, G. There's one there. Or if we carried on, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay? So this is just using a pattern so far. So we haven't memorized any notes as yet, just the pattern. So of course now we can start memorizing the notes on each string just as we did before. So let's take a look at the E string. We have the open E, F, G, and A. This is the only string with 4 notes in a pattern. Keep the hand in position and just pick the notes out with the correct finger. So G is the 2nd finger, A is the 4th finger, and down here at the F we take it with the 1st finger. This is the best way to practice so that you can play without looking at the fretboard, and it'll come in really handy when you want to learn to read music. But if you're a beginner and have real problems stretching out your fingers, or they aren't strong enough yet, don't worry, you can just use 1 finger for each of the notes. I won't tell anybody. So let's practice these notes, 1 bar each. The notes will be on screen. Play the note on the first beat and use the remainder of the bar to look forward and prepare for the next note. So this is the same type of exercise that we used in the first lesson. So with the metronome, 1, 2, 3, 4. E, F, G, A, G, E, G, F, A, G, A, A, E, F, G, A. Now let's look at the A string. We have the notes B, C and D. Keep the hand in position so the first finger takes the B, the second finger takes the C and the fourth finger takes the D, okay, at the 5th fret. So with the metronome, 1, 2, 3, 4, B, C, D, D, B, C, B, D, B, D, C, D, C, B, D, C. Now let's combine the E and the A string. So with the metronome, 1, 2, 3, 4. E, G, A, E, B, G, C, D, G, A, D, A, G, E, B, C, A, G, C, F, G, F, B, D, C, B. Remember to keep practicing each string until you feel comfortable using the PDF charts provided and your own random charts. Treat this lesson as an overview and demonstration of the method for practice. Don't just try to keep up and panic when it becomes too difficult. Now let's move up to the D string. So we have E, F and G using the same fingering pattern as the A string. So we've got the first finger taking the E, the second finger taking the F and the fourth finger taking the G. Okay? So now with the metronome, 1, 2, 3, 4. E, F, G, F, G, E, G, F, G, E, F, G, E, F, G, F. As you go through these exercises, you should get the feeling that it's actually too easy. Maybe at the start of each string you'll be a little bit unsure, but by the end of each exercise or after a while, certainly a few hours, you'll start thinking, this is just too easy, I need to move on. And at every stage you should be thinking, it's too easy. If you do that, you will be improving over a period of time, and before you know it, you'll be thinking, right, okay, well I know all these strings now, but it still seems too easy, okay? So lastly, let's take the G string. So we have A, B, C with the fingers first, third and fourth, okay? So 2nd fret, 4th fret and 5th fret. So, with the metronome again. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, B, A, B, A, C, B, B, A, C, A, C, B, C, A. Now let's combine those two strings, the D and the G string. So 1, 2, 3, 4. B, C, F, G, A, E, C, G, E, B, C, B, A, F, A, G, A, E, G, C, F, A, and C. So that should already be helping with your knowledge of the notes on the neck. As I said, use the practice sheets provided and work through them at your own pace. If you find yourself having any difficulties at all, just decrease the tempo and isolate any strings that are causing problems. So there are just a couple of things to clear up now. The first thing is the issue of accidentals. We've only covered the natural notes in the first position, so we need to look at the accidentals. As I mentioned before, the frets between the natural notes can be either sharps or flats, so we'll look at both on each string. So on the E string, we have the notes E, F, G, and A. Now this leaves us with two gaps at the 2nd and 4th frets. The 2nd fret is a semitone above the F, so it can be classed as an F sharp, but it's also a semitone below the G, so it can also be a G flat. Next, the 4th fret is a semitone above the G, so it can be a G sharp, but it's also a semitone below the A, so it can be an A flat. So in this first position, just on the E string, we have the notes E, F, F sharp or G flat, G, G sharp or A flat, and A. Okay? If we want to go one step further on this E string, we could also look at the 6th fret and see that as a semitone above the A, so it's an A sharp and it's also a B flat. So it is possible to stretch up just as it was as we were able to stretch down to the F. So if we look at the A string notes of B, C and D, we've got the 1st fret here, which will be an A sharp or a B flat, and that's a repetition of the A sharp or B flat that we saw down here on the E string at the 6th fret. You always have to remember that because of the tuning of the bass and the nature of the fretboard, we always have several repetitions of the same note all along the neck. This is why I try to concentrate on one particular area of the neck when learning these notes. So next up we see the 4th fret, which is a semitone above the C and below the D, so we have a C sharp or a D flat. So we can carry on across the neck with the accidentals. So on the D string, we have the D sharp or E flat there at the 1st fret, and at the 4th fret, we've got the F sharp or G flat. Then if we move up onto the G string, 1st fret, we've got the G sharp or A flat. Then at the 3rd fret, we've got the A sharp or B flat. Okay? So as I said, for now, just concentrate on the natural notes and then work out the sharps and flats from using the notes that you already know as a guide. There's loads of practice charts provided available for these accidentals, so don't worry about that, just work through the material in your own pace. As a great exercise, we can also take any chord progression that we find from any song and just play through the root notes in time with a drum machine, metronome or a backing track. You don't have to worry about the chord type, just the root. So even a C7, flat 9, flat 13 will be a C. Then restrict yourself to one area of the neck. So let's look at a basic chord progression of C major 7, A minor 7, D minor 7 and G7. We'll stay on the E and A string in the first position. So with the metronome, 1, 2, 3, 4, C, A, 2, 3, 4, D, G, C, A, D, and G. Okay? These progressions can really help with thinking on your feet and developing your muscle memory. I've included some chord progressions to get you going in the downloadable PDF, and there are going to be a lot of progressions available over at talkingbass.net. So see the info below or the video annotation for the links. The second position that I mentioned deals with the notes up here from the 7th fret to the 10th fret. So in order we have B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Now this position is pretty much the twilight zone area that a lot of players hate moving into, but if you follow the same procedure as we followed in the first position, you should be fine. Just wait until you really get to grips with that first position and then start working on the exercises provided. As a quick example, here are the notes that you should be dealing with. We have B, C, D here on the E string at the 7th, 8th and 10th frets. That's with the 1st, 2nd and 4th fingers. Then we have the E, F, G on the A string at the 7th, 8th and 10th frets. Again, that's with the 1st, 2nd and 4th fingers. On the D string, we have the A, B and C at the 7th, 9th and 10th frets. That's with the 1st, 3rd and 4th fingers. And then finally on the G string, we've got the D, the E and the F at the 7th, 9th and 10th frets with the 1st, 3rd and 4th fingers. So as I said, I've included practice sheets for this position. You want to try the same practice method as before, using the metronome, a drum machine or just your foot, and play one note per bar. Then add the accidentals and again experiment with as many chord progressions as possible. Once you feel really comfortable with both positions, you should be able to move between them at will, and at that point the neck will definitely be opening up for you. So one last technicality to cover in this position section is the repeating nature of the fretboard. If we look up here at the 12th fret, you'll see 2 fret markers instead of 1. You might also have a different kind of fret marker or none at all. Whatever you have, the 12th fret is important in that it's a repeat of the open strings. So the E, A, D and G strings, there we have E, A, D and G when we fret them at the 12th. So the whole system that we've looked at starts again. The fret markers are placed in the same position but an octave higher. So just as we saw 3rd, 5th, 7th and 9th fret markers here, we've got the same fret markers there. So the C there at the 3rd fret is the C, the fret marker there at the 15th. That D, that D, that E is that E, okay? So past the 12th fret, what applies for the fret markers also applies for the positions that we've just used. So that first position of E, F, G, A, B, etc. would work here. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay? Okay, so the third and final lesson will cover another simple method and test for looking at notes on the fretboard. So now you can just move on to that by using the link in the info below or the annotation on the screen. Okay? See you there.